This video will feature beaded dangle earrings. Before we get started with the tutorial, I want to say that you'll need 2 beads that are large enough for a jump ring and thread to fit through the middle, because those beads will hold everything together in the earring, and that's a good place to start. This is an example of the style of beads that I'll be using. The ones on the left are larger, so they'll hold everything together, and there's 1 per earring. The beads on the right will be on the strings, and those will make the dangles. For the materials, we'll need earring hooks, jump rings, beads, thread, scissors, a measuring tape, and jewelry pliers. For these earrings, I'm using about 12 inches of sewing thread per earring. That's a little bit more than I need, but I prefer doing that and then trimming the excess off. That way you have plenty of thread. And I'm using a color that works well with the beads. That string was for the first earring, and then this one will be for the second earring. At this point, we're going to open up a jump ring and find one of the larger beads that easily fits through it, kind of like what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. Once you find a bead, then you'll thread the bead and put the threaded bead back over the jump ring and make sure that it's loose enough that it can move around. We don't want it to be so snug that the bead and the thread don't move. Once we do that, then we're going to take the earring hook, put that over the jump ring, and then close it. This next step is going to take a while, but it's super fun. First, you're going to make sure that each strand is symmetrical and the same length, and then you're going to start adding beads to one side. Measure along the way, because from bead to bead per strand we want it to be about 3 inches each. And I'm going to fast forward so that you don't have to watch me add beads for several minutes. I want each strand to be 3 inches. That looks good there. Now we're going to tie the ends of the earring. I'm going to hold, it's hard to see I know, but I'm going to hold that last bead tight to the strand, make a loop, and carefully tighten it. That way there's not a knot far away from the beads, or the beads aren't too tight. And I'm going to do that a few times. Now that one side of the earring is complete, we'll do the same thing to the other side. We'll add 3 inches of beads and then tie it. When you're beading, if the end of the thread becomes frayed and it's hard to get the bead through, I like to clip a little bit off, and that's also why I have longer thread. At this point, I have 3 inches on both sides, and the earring is symmetrical. Now we're going to tie the end of the second string, just like we tied the first one, holding the last two beads pretty tight together. That way it's not, when you make the knot, it's not loose with lots of space between the beads, but then it's also not really tight, like it's gonna snap the string. And we'll also do that a few times just to make sure that it's pretty secure. At this point, I'm going to take clear nail polish. You can also use clear glue and apply it to the knot. That'll help keep it secure. Normally, what I would also do is take the thread and go back up the beads and then trim it, but the beads are a little bit too small in the situation, so I'll skip that part. So the nail polish has had a chance to dry. So at this point, I'm going to carefully trim the ends of the leftover thread so that way it doesn't cut into the knot, and then also so that way there's not like a long tail of thread just kind of hanging out. I know you can't see it in the camera, but you know what I mean. There we go, that's looking good. I just really love the natural movement of these earrings. Thanks for watching, have a good one.